Afternoon, everybody. I think everyone has connected to audio now. Um, Welcome and thank you so much for attending today's Career Exploration and Readiness panel put together by the Career Education and Workforce Development Department at Glendale Community College. My name is Brianna Dulay. I'll be your host for today along with Marcela Canella. She is also here with us. We are very excited to have you here with us today for this panel, which is one of a series of panels that we have been and continue to host this semester. We have a few more coming up in the upcoming weeks. So if you find this interesting, want to learn more about it, please, you can find more information on our website, www.glendale.edu/careered, as well as we'll be sharing the information when possible. Today's panel is focused on business, marketing, and service and some of the different career options within that field. For those who may be unfamiliar with GCC's programs, we do have a wealth of different programs within the realm of business. We have associate degrees, certificates, skill awards, something for everybody. We have programs like accounting, marketing, international business management, financial planning, certificates, certifications in tax preparer, insurance professional, human resource assistant, as well as some skill awards, which do take less time to acquire for somebody who is a little more anxious to get into the field. You could do something like real estate. We have a few new ones: IT technology technician, cybersecurity, computer networking. Those are very new. We're very excited for those. So you can see there's a lot of options to choose from within our business division at GCC. More information can be found on our website, which I'm sure we will be sharing throughout today. It is being shared right now, actually, on the screen, glendale.edu/careered. So moving into our panelists, we have a wonderful lineup for you guys today. I'll be introducing them one at a time, at which point they're going to share their career journey as well as some key pieces of information from their professional field with all of you all. Please, while they're speaking, if you have any questions, share them in the chat box. We are going to have a Q&A at the end, 5-10 minutes at the very end for any questions that you guys might have for them. And then we will read those questions off to them at that time. So without further ado, I'll be introducing our first panelist. We have Lillian Fong, Human Resource Business Partner and Account Manager for Always Designing for People. A quick bio or introduction for Lilian. She is an ambivert self-developer, and community builder who completed her undergrad program majoring in finance, but made the choice to pursue a career in human resource industry about a decade ago. Lillian believes that in order to best serve others, one has to develop a deep understanding of self and cultivate one's skill sets intentionally over a lifelong period of time. I could not agree more. In her pursuit for lifelong self-development, Lillian consistently seeks opportunities to learn from different sources and participates in leadership development programs, such as those offered by Bespoke and the John Maxwell team. Lillian actively applies what she learned not only in her work as an HR practitioner, but also in her volunteering roles with PIRA, AAPA, Mentor Collective, APIA Scholars, and Toastmasters. She currently works as a human resource business partner and account manager at ADP. In her role, she provides HR consultation and account support to her clients, who are primarily small businesses with workforce sizes ranging from 20 to 150 employees. Additionally to working and volunteering, Lillian blocks time for family functions somewhere in Southern California or Chicago with her husband, Roger, and their two rescue pups, Dexter and Daisy. We are very fortunate that she's been able to carve out some time for us today. With that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Lillian.
Thank you, Brianna. I just want to make sure you can hear me still.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to bring up my slide here. All right. So Thank you, Brianna, for sending over the questions. They were really helpful in putting this presentation together. Hello, everyone. I'm actually in Chicago right now, spending time with family. I'm heading back to California towards the end of the week. Thank you so much for having me and joining GCC during this time. I selected a few from the list that Brianna sent over to really share my experience in hope that these tips and what I've gone through during my career journey will help you as you graduate, get your first job, and down the line too as you progress in your professional career trajectory. And so to start, one of the things that, of course, we have to cover is the journey. And I put this little map together for you all just to show that it's really not a straight line. There may be, different advice out there, and everybody's experience is different. Mine looks like this. As you can see, I started out in pre-med bio, and as Brianna mentioned, for my bio, I graduated in finance as an undergrad. But as you can see there in between, I did switch my major from pre-med bio to accounting. And also there's that little thunder marker that was a break in between. I took off from school for about a semester. And then after I graduated finance, I started out on my first corporate job as an auto insurance claim adjuster with Progressive. I quickly learned that was really for me. So I went back into small business operation as an office manager and also a bilingual lecturer teaching at a vocational school. And I said I went back because during my time in school, even started out as high school through college, while going to school, I was working in the vocational school field already. So after I graduated college with my undergrad and decided that claim adjusting wasn't for me, I went back to the small business area in the vocational sector. And you see another break there between the small business and administrative assistant. That was basically the time that I decided I needed a switch and I just needed to break out of my comfort zone. So I took off from Chicago and moved to California without a job. Luckily, it didn't last too long. I was able to use my previous skill set and got into a temp agency where I worked at a small, a nonprofit for a good 6 months. And they liked me so much that they hired me permanently as their program manager. And during my time there, I started my MBA program and I decided to focus in HR. And that was when I made a choice to pursue HR as my career path. And you see a little break there again. That pretty much represented the time where I decided that I needed to focus on finding an internship in HR and also finish my school, because it was a lot working 10 to 14 hours a day sometime as a program manager and doing school, granted online, after work. So I took a break there, and during that time I did find an internship in HR. I used to tell people that I actually did it kind of backward, because as you can see, all the movement from undergrad to program manager, I didn't need an internship. I didn't think that I needed an internship. Therefore, it was very foreign to me. So I pretty much went back 5 steps. You know, some people would say that, to start a career in HR by choice. But I'm so glad that I made that decision to do that, because during that internship was pretty much the most valuable 10 months of my experience in HR, because collectively from my, based on my, or I leveraged on my experience from before that, where I went in, but the way that I functioned wasn't like an intern. It was more of a generalist capacity. And for those who are interested in learning more about that, that sort of path or that time frame, I'm more than happy to share after the panel today. So just connect with me separately. So going back to that internship, it pretty much was preparing me to springboard in a sense in the HR industry, because after that, the rest was pretty much history. It's been almost a decade ago. And right now I'm working in a HR consultant capacity with ADP. So the way it works is that I am an employee at ADP, and my position is sort of a hybrid role where one side of it, I do give guidance as an HR consultant to my small business clients. And on the other hand, I'm their account manager who pretty much help them to connect with other teams within ADP who can help them resolve issues like 401k or time labor management, other reporting inquiries that they may have. And I would say right now, I've been at ADP for about 3 years, coming up to 3 years, and I don't know what my next would look like, and that's why you can see that circle and all the question marks. But I know for sure that I will lean on my collective experience from even starting out in undergrad school as a pre-med bio major to where I am now as an HR consultant and account manager. And with that, I'm going to move to the next slide to share with you a few things that I've learned along the way. As you can see, the headline here is to create your opportunities. My biggest takeaway from all of my navigation, trial and error in my career trajectory so far is don't wait for someone to give you the opportunity. Don't hesitate to ask for it, even if you don't think you're ready. I mean, the reality is none of us is really ready for our next until we actually take the step and just do it. Sure, we'll fail. I fail many times, as you see all those breaks in between, but sometimes taking that 3 or 5 steps back can end up with you leaping way further ahead because you create your own opportunities. So I have 3 things for you. Put yourself out there. Don't be shy connecting with people. And I think social media makes it easier, or maybe harder, depending on how you look at it. From my experience, would say it makes it easier to connect with other people in the industries that you are interested in learning more about, if not graduating to where you find your first job. And so when let's say, for example, I don't know how many of you are on LinkedIn or even Twitter, there are ways, even on Twitter, to connect with professionals in the industry that you want to step into. On LinkedIn, if you are on there, if not, I would highly, highly recommend you to go on. One way to start the networking, putting yourself out there and connecting with other people is really just to follow them and comment, add your insight, share your experience on what's interesting to you from their posting. The other thing is to develop your social capital. Go back to putting yourself out there. Social capital is really all about networking and building your brand and marketability. So again, create those opportunities to do that. One example to do that, to develop your social capital, even if you're an extreme introvert, is to volunteer. Volunteer, and that is where you can work, show what you can do, learn new skills, and also connect with other people. Because sometimes it's the interesting thing about connecting with people is, even though the person that you're talking to right there and then may not be the person who can find you that job that you want, they may be friend or even parent of someone who can, give you that opportunity, or at least a bridge to get there. versus having to apply online, just like the majority of the people who are doing so. And the last point I will leave you with for this slide is to invest in yourself. Once you have that job, I would highly encourage you to step outside your comfort zone. Do more than just the job that you're hired to do or applied for to do. And invest yourself can look like reading, right? Personal development, or going back to volunteer. That's another way to invest yourself, to learn new skill or upskill. Again, keeping yourself marketable, but invest in yourself so that you grow as a whole person professionally and personally. Some companies, depending on where you're gonna go, where you're, get your first, second, third job in, they may or may not have a budget for learning development. Even then, I would say pay yourself first, right? Put some in saving, and part of that saving can go into getting that a credential or that certification of a program or a boot camp section of sort that would help you, again, to upskill, develop new skill, or increase your marketability. And I can share with you my personal experience with investing in myself is starting last year. I pretty much decided and I did put away on average of about $3,000 to $5,000 a year just for myself. And that was how I was able to put myself through these leadership and professional and also personal development programs, like the couple that Brianna introduced in the bio for Bespoke and also John Maxwell team. There are a lot more out there, and that's why you should put yourself out there to see what type of opportunities that you want to seek. And again, it's all about creating it for yourself. I'm going to move to the last slide, and I'll leave you with this quote for my part. Be you. Really focus not on what others have accomplished and you're not. Focus instead on what you can do with your strengths and uniqueness to create what you want for yourself. And that's all from me, Brianna.
Wonderful. I like that quote a lot. Where did you find the quote?
Thank you. Oh, I made it up.
I love that. That's a really good one.
A lot of reading. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I really enjoyed the journey and the, what you call like the broken pieces where it goes in a different direction, because it really highlights the fact that it's not a straight path. Very rarely does anybody take a straight path. So accepting and owning those moments and using that to your advantage is really important. So I appreciated you highlighting that. Any questions for our panelists, please put them into the chat and we will ask them near the end of, we have one more panelist. So after our second panelist, we'll ask the questions at that point. For now, we're going to move on to our second panelist, Oscar Leal, business strategist for the Marketing Profit. Oscar is a business strategist who helps small to mid-sized business growth and thrive is the new age of technology. His focus is on sales and marketing while also looking at other vital aspects of the business. However, realizing that the blood of the business is revenue, having a solid sales and marketing system in place will positively impact a company. Before becoming a business strategist, Oscar worked in banking and finance within the business, banking and business finance sector for over 10 years in various roles ranging from mortgage banking, business banking, relationship management, and analysis. Oscar graduated the Bachelor of Science in Management from Pepperdine University. He believes that growth never stops, thus he is always learning and growing, and he is here today to share with us what he has learned to help you guys grow. So Oscar, I will turn it over to you.
Hey guys, thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. As Brianna said, my name is Oscar Leal, and I am a business strategist. So what is a strategist? A strategist really depends on the industry that you work with, the industry that you're involved in, various different sectors. So it kind of really depends on the industry, the sectors, and the subsets that you're in. But a simple way to explain what a strategist is thinking of how you play chess. When in a game of chess, you got to think of a lot of different things. Think broadly, think specifically, be able to think strategically and methodically, to be able to come up with your options and your moves that are going to help you achieve your ultimate goal, in which case in chess would be to win the game, hopefully, you know. So that's basically what strategy does. How I got here, a little bit about my journey. I started at junior college, went there for a few years, then actually decided to take a break and start working. That's when I got into mortgage banking, worked there for a few years, then transitioned into business banking, worked there for a few more years, then went to corporate banking and different companies such as Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and also became an analyst with Kaiser Permanente. So I've been able to, with my experience that I've acquired through all these years, been able to work in a variety of different sectors, and the skills that I learned and the experience that I've acquired have made it tremendously helpful in being able to get to where I am now. My journey, very much like Lilian, wasn't very straight. You know, it was kind of all over the place. But you know, all of those skills and experiences that I've acquired throughout my journey has allowed me to really become who I am now. So what's my education? My education, again, is I graduated from Pepperdine University with a degree in business science and management. So a background for business analysts. As a business analyst, you have a lot of different specialties. To be able to really get, as a business strategist, to be able to get your foot in there, you kind of want to have some type of expertise. They can range from being a business analyst, working there in that department for several years, financial analyst, economist, or business banking. Any of those expertise in the business sector would help you get there. Another avenue to get into a business strategist position would also help if you have a science background or being a science major, being a data analyst, software developer, you know, working with AI, artificial intelligence, statistician, or information technology. And as I mentioned before, you know, being able to really hone in on your skills and do a particular job function for a number of years, at least 3 to 5 years, will allow you to get into different roles and slowly ascend to a business strategist position. Let's see here. Okay, sorry. There's one more that I'm missing. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. Again, as I mentioned before, as a business strategist, you could work in finance industry, medical industry, developer, as a developer for a real estate developer. You can work in the oil industry. There's just an immense amount of different industries that you could work for. It just really all depends on the focus and the experience that you've been able to acquire and hone throughout all these years. Some of the requirements that you would want to have is bachelor's degree. Definitely need a bachelor's degree, and most companies prefer you have a master's in business, whether it be data analyst, business and data analyst, finance, or some other type of business degree, or an MBA. The skills that are required are, as mentioned, education and also the skills that you develop in the workforce. Also being able to be quantitative, being able to understand and not be afraid of numbers, analytical, and also being able to communicate well, because you got to be able to take all the information that you're going through, make sense of it, and be able to communicate it to other individuals, whether it be CEOs or other individuals of a corporation or even small business owners. How does someone get into this business? Again, you want to get a degree, and while you're getting a degree, you want to step into an internship. Look into the opportunities that your career department has. Get into an internship. That really helps tremendously. And another thing is, if you are actually able to land an internship and get into a position, as most people don't start off as analysts and strategists, they usually work in other departments, as mentioned before, develop a few years of experience. Another thing that helps, if you don't necessarily have an MBA or a master's in science in some type of specialty, would be get certified as a financial analyst or certified as a business analyst. A lot of these certificates would also help you tremendously, even if you have a master's degree. And we already covered this. So a little bit more about what I do and the functions that actually I do in my particular job is that I help small to medium-sized businesses create a footprint online. 70% of business right now do not have a presence online, and as such are struggling. And as we have seen in these last few months, because they didn't develop a good, strong presence online, many of them have actually perished. They no longer exist. Unfortunately to them, they just weren't able to, get in up to date with how things are going nowadays. So a lot of the small businesses that I talk to and have talked to is I focus on developing a footprint online, developing a brand online. And if some of the business that I do speak to and have already those two things in place, then we look at all the other aspects of the business. Are all the other departments functioning efficiently? Is the operations department working well? Administration department, procurement. And if everything is functioning well, then we can go ahead and set up a plan to increase their customer database. So I take all the information, do market research, do competitive research, and then also do customer research. So there's a lot of research that goes into play in being able to understand the market, the business, and the customer. Look at their competitive advantage, see where they're good at, take all that information, disseminate the information, and come up with a plan. Create a marketing objective that's going to help them. Depending on the industry, if a person is an attorney, would completely differentiate my marketing approach if they were a plastic surgeon or a automotive industry. It really all depends on the industry and the market, who your customer base is, because your customer will, your industry and your customer will dictate the type of vehicle that we're going to use for the marketing. So do we advertise on Google? Do we advertise on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram? What do we do? Where do we go? It really all depends on where your customer is and what you have to offer. Once we understand that, create a plan, put together something. Now we also have to know that the individual, the company, is able to handle this influx of customers. Are you going to be able to convert them? Are you going to be able to close them? Because it makes no sense for us to provide you with a whole bunch of business and then you just essentially drop the ball. You can't provide the service that you need to those customers. You essentially, unfortunately, will start developing a bad reputation because people will start seeing you as somebody who can't do the job. So, and that's where marketing and sales come together. That's where they marry, because you got to be able to not only create a plan that's going to work, you also got to be able to create a function that's going to be able to take on the plan and be able to convert on those transactions. So that's essentially my function. The experiences that I've acquired in relationship management, being able to communicate with businesses as well as individuals, my background in analytics and in finance have all come together and allowed me to really get a good understanding about this. And as I mentioned, you got to have some type of quantitative abilities, because you got to be able to analyze. You got to be able to understand numbers, understand data, and make sense of everything. And then take all that information and explain it to individuals that don't really understand all of these numbers, all this data in a simplified form. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's see here. Oh, really quick. So some of the salaries in the strategy industry, they're average. They range in $70,000 range. As you can see on the left side of your screen, you have strategist salary, data strategist salaries, and strategy consultants. On the right side, you have more of the analyst salaries. You have data analyst, business analyst, and financial analyst. The reason I bring up these other analyst salaries is because, again, with analyst background, you can definitely make that that move into a strategy position. And if you choose to just stay as an analyst, you know, we're going to be well compensated as well. And that's pretty much it. And if anybody else has any questions, I'm here to answer them. Let me go ahead and stop sharing.
Thank you, Oscar. You brought up a really important point. You highlighted the attraction to the business major for a lot of our students, the fact that it is linked to so many different sectors. You know, you have to have knowledge about different sectors, but you have the opportunity to work within the medical field or within the automotive or with whatever field you want with a business background. You know, it's very widely applied. So I think that that's a really important piece that you mentioned. Marcella, do we have any questions for our panelists?
Yes, there's actually a question in the chat for, where is it? I'm sorry, I missed it. Where is it? Do you see it? I saw it a few minutes ago. It was for Lilian about her, here it is. So this question is for Lilian. Did you ever get discouraged taking breaks from school to work?
Marcella, it's the question from Angelique. I answered in the chat, but I'll go ahead and just share with everybody here too. The only break that I actually took from school to work was during my undergrad. And the other two breaks that I include on the map or my journey were when I took off from work to move to LA, and then the other one was to actually focus on my school with my MBA and finding a job in HR. And if Angelique's question is specifically for the break from school, I was a bit worried just because once you get to working and just put, you know, basically go full time, sometimes it gets really kind of give you this anxiety to think, you know, you have to follow the schedule in school again, and then the amount of reading and all the midterms and finals and whatnot like that. So I was a bit worried having to readjust to the school schedule while working on whatnot, but I pretty much power through that. And good thing I got all my credits and I graduated. So I hope that answered Angelique's question.
Good, thank you. And just a short one for anybody who would like to answer this one. What is the most rewarding part of your job?
Oscar, you want to take it before me?
Okay. Yeah. So what I can say is that in what I do, I help businesses, and the rewarding part is being able to help a business grow. Seeing the look in their face, and just, you know, the appreciation that they have for you for being able to help them, you know, mend all those loose ends that the business is having, and some of the things that they can't see. Sometimes you need to step outside of the business to be able to see what's going on, and definitely a third person, a different point of view helps all that. So being able to help businesses and just helping them flourish is the most rewarding thing.
Perfect, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity and time for our students. I believe we conclude our session for today. If you guys have any questions for any students, please email us and sign in. Anything else you would like to add, Brianna?
Just make sure if you are a student and you are here for extra credit, we put that sign-in sheet in the chat. Make sure you do that. And other than that, Cynthia, thank you so much for being here. Our business embedded counselor, she put her email address in our chat box as well. Make an appointment with her if you are one of our business students. She's amazing. Other than that, thank you so much, both of you, Oscar and Lillian, for being here today. It truly, I learned so much. I know our students learned a lot. So thank you for taking the time with us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.